Have you ever found yourself caught in a web of manipulation, wondering how someone who seemed so charming and kind could leave you feeling broken and confused? It's a pain that cuts deep, leaving you questioning your own worth, your instincts, and even your faith. But what if I told you this isn't just a personality issue or a matter of bad behavior? What if something darker, something more insidious, lurks behind the mask of a narcissist? Narcissism isn't just about arrogance or self-centeredness. It's a carefully constructed facade hiding deep spiritual darkness. Beneath the surface of manipulation, control, and deceit lies a battle not just for relationships, but for your very soul. The Bible warns us about the dangers of pride and selfishness. Pride leads to disgrace, but with humility comes wisdom. Proverbs 11, verse 2. And nowhere is this warning more evident than in the destructive power of narcissistic behavior. When we think of narcissists, we often picture someone who is overly self-absorbed, always craving attention, or unwilling to admit their faults. But this outward image masks something much more sinister. Narcissists are often driven by spiritual forces that thrive on chaos, deception, and destruction. These forces, what we might call demonic spirits, seek not only to manipulate and control the narcissist, but also to ensnare those around them in a cycle of pain and confusion. C.S. Lewis, in his profound work The Screwtape Letters, offers this chilling insight into the subtlety of spiritual warfare. Indeed, the safest road to hell is the gradual one, the gentle slope, soft underfoot, without sudden turnings, without milestones, without signposts. This gradual, almost unnoticed descent into emotional and spiritual bondage is precisely what makes the influence of narcissistic behavior so dangerous. It often begins with charm and ends in devastation, leaving victims feeling powerless and alone. Consider this. The narcissist doesn't just hurt you by chance. Their behavior often feels calculated, deliberate, as if designed to break you down. This isn't an accident. It's the work of spiritual forces that fuel their need for control and domination. From the spirit of manipulation to the spirit of entitlement, these influences shape their actions and leave destruction in their wake. But there's hope. Understanding these spiritual forces is the first step toward freedom. Awareness brings clarity, and clarity empowers you to break free from the grip of a narcissist's influence. The Bible reminds us of the power of truth. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. As we begin this journey of uncovering the spiritual roots of narcissism, I invite you to look beyond the surface, to see the mask for what it truly is, a deceptive tool used by dark forces to rob you of your peace, your joy, and your identity. Together we'll pull back the curtain and expose the hidden influences at play, empowering you to reclaim your life and walk boldly in the light of God's truth. Are you ready to uncover the truth behind the narcissistic mask? Let's begin. The spirit of manipulation, mastering control. At the heart of narcissistic behavior lies a chilling force, the spirit of manipulation. Unlike overt displays of power, manipulation is subtle, quiet, and insidious, often going unnoticed until the damage is done. This spirit thrives on deception, exploiting vulnerabilities and bending others to its will, all while maintaining the illusion of care and concern. For the narcissist, manipulation isn't just a tool, it's their way of life. Manipulation begins with charm. Narcissists have an uncanny ability to make you feel valued, special, and even loved. They say all the right things, often tailoring their words to meet your deepest desires or insecurities. But this charm isn't genuine. It's a calculated tactic designed to gain your trust and lower your defenses. C.S. Lewis describes such calculated evil in The Screwtape Letters. The thing to do is to get a man at first to value social approval as a value in itself. You will find that anything or nothing is sufficient to attract his wandering attention. Once the narcissist has gained your trust, the real work of manipulation begins. They orchestrate situations to maintain control, often creating confusion, dependency, or emotional instability in their victims. Have you ever felt like your words were twisted, your intentions misinterpreted, or your actions questioned in ways you couldn't understand? That's the spirit of manipulation at work, sowing seeds of doubt to keep you off balance. At its core, manipulation is about dominance. The narcissist seeks to control not just your actions, but your thoughts and emotions. They subtly undermine your confidence, making you question your instincts and judgment. They may gaslight you, convincing you that your memory is flawed or your feelings are unjustified. This tactic ensures that you remain dependent on them, unable to trust yourself or others. The Bible warns us about the danger of such deceit, for such people are false apostles, deceitful workers, masquerading as apostles of Christ. 2 Corinthians 11:13. Manipulation is rooted in lies, and the longer it persists, the more it erodes trust, truth, and emotional stability. Recognizing the spirit of manipulation is the first step toward breaking free. It requires courage to confront the lies and clarity to see through the facade. Remember, manipulation is a tool of darkness, but the truth brings light. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. If you've been caught in the web of a manipulator, take heart. God's truth can set you free. By leaning into His Word and reclaiming your sense of self, you can break the cycle of manipulation and step into a life of peace and clarity. Narcissists view relationships as transactions, not bonds. To them, people are not individuals with needs and emotions, but tools to fulfill their desires. Whether it's emotional validation, financial gain, or status, every connection serves one purpose: their benefit. This relentless drive to use others is fueled by the spirit of exploitation, a force that thrives on taking without giving, draining others while leaving them empty and broken. This exploitation often starts subtly. A narcissist may present themselves as caring and invested, but over time their true intentions surface. They expect more than they give, constantly demanding attention, resources, or support without reciprocating. Victims find themselves trapped in a one-sided dynamic, giving endlessly in the hopes of maintaining peace or receiving acknowledgement. Exploitation is insidious because it disguises itself as need or vulnerability. Narcissists may convince you that their pain is greater than yours, their struggles more urgent, or their desires more deserving. Over time, they deplete your emotional energy, resources, and sense of self-worth, leaving you feeling used and undervalued. The Bible warns against such selfishness. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves. Philippians 2:3. One of the most damaging effects of the spirit of exploitation is the erosion of identity in its victims. As they give more and more to meet the narcissist's insatiable demands, they lose touch with their own needs, boundaries, and sense of self. The relationship becomes a cycle of taking and depletion, where the narcissist's satisfaction always comes at the expense of someone else's well-being. Recognizing this pattern is crucial for breaking free. The spirit of exploitation relies on keeping victims in a state of guilt and obligation, but the truth is, no one is obligated to give endlessly to someone who offers nothing in return. C.S. Lewis writes, "Of all tyrannies, a tyranny sincerely exercised for the good of its victims may be the most oppressive." The narcissist's exploitation is not for mutual benefit, but for domination. To reclaim your peace and strength, it's essential to set firm boundaries and remember that your worth is not defined by how much you give to others. As Jesus taught, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Matthew 11:28. By trusting in God's guidance, you can escape the cycle of exploitation and find renewal. The spirit of deception is one of the most cunning and destructive forces behind narcissistic behavior. Narcissists are masters of creating illusions, crafting a carefully constructed false persona to manipulate and control those around them. They appear charming, empathetic, and trustworthy on the surface, but beneath this facade lies a calculated agenda aimed at trapping others in their web of lies. Deception begins with trust. Narcissists know how to present themselves as the ideal partner, friend, or colleague, gaining the confidence of their victims. They use this trust to exploit vulnerabilities, twisting the truth and manipulating perceptions to suit their narrative. The Bible warns us about this kind of deceit. For such people are not serving our Lord Christ, but their own appetites. By smooth talk and flattery, they deceive the minds of naive people. Romans 16:18. One of the most insidious tools of deception is gaslighting, a tactic where narcissists distort reality to make their victims doubt their own memories and judgment. By consistently challenging your perspective, they plant seeds of confusion and self-doubt, leaving you dependent on them for validation and clarity. Over time, this erodes your confidence and isolates you from the truth. Deception also thrives on emotional manipulation. Narcissists weaponize their false kindness and empathy, making it difficult for their victims to see the truth behind their intentions. They present themselves as the only person who truly understands or cares, isolating their targets from other support systems. This deepens their control and ensures that their lies go unchallenged. C.S. Lewis captures the subtlety of deception in the Screwtape Letters. The best thing, where it is possible, is to keep the patient from the serious intention of praying altogether. Similarly, the spirit of deception works by keeping you from seeking truth, clarity, or outside perspective, leaving you trapped in confusion. Recognizing this spirit is the first step to breaking free. The Bible reminds us, "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." John 8:32. Rebuilding trust in your instincts and seeking God's guidance through prayer and scripture can help you escape the grasp of deception. The light of truth exposes the lies and empowers you to reclaim your sense of self, your peace, and your freedom. The spirit of revenge is a powerful and destructive force that fuels the narcissist's need for retribution. Unlike healthy individuals who forgive and move on from conflicts, narcissists perceive even minor slights as personal attacks. Their inflated sense of superiority leaves no room for criticism or rejection, and any challenge to their ego is met with deep-seated resentment. This spirit thrives on grudges, ensuring that a narcissist never forgets or forgives. Revenge, for a narcissist, is not impulsive, it's calculated. They carefully plan their retaliation, ensuring maximum pain for their target. Whether it's spreading lies, sabotaging relationships, or manipulating situations, the goal is always the same: to humiliate or harm those they believe wronged them. This meticulous planning makes their vengeance even more damaging and far-reaching. The Bible cautions us against this behavior. "Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, 'It is mine to avenge, I will repay,' says the Lord." Romans 12:19. What makes the spirit of revenge particularly dangerous is the satisfaction the narcissist derives from it. They feed on the pain they inflict, feeling a sense of power and vindication. To them, revenge is not just about settling a score, it's about reasserting their dominance and punishing those who dare to challenge them. This vengeful behavior often blinds them to the long-term consequences, damaging not only their relationships but also their own lives. The cycle of revenge creates chaos and destruction. For the narcissist, holding on to resentment becomes an obsession, consuming their thoughts and actions. C.S. Lewis reflects on the danger of such unchecked emotions. To be a Christian means to forgive the inexcusable because God has forgiven the inexcusable in you. Yet, narcissists, driven by pride and entitlement, reject forgiveness, choosing instead to nurture their grudges. For victims, understanding this spirit is key to breaking free from its grip. Revenge thrives on the pain it causes, but you don't have to be its victim. The Bible offers a path to healing. "Let all bitterness and wrath and clamor and slander be put away from you, along with all malice." Ephesians 4:31. By refusing to engage with the narcissist's vengeful tactics and seeking peace through forgiveness, you protect your heart and mind from their destructive influence. Remember, revenge is a trap, a cycle of bitterness that leads only to more pain. By choosing forgiveness and trusting in God's justice, you can rise above the darkness of revenge and reclaim your freedom, peace, and joy. The spirit of entitlement is one of the most defining forces behind narcissistic behavior. It convinces the narcissist that they are inherently deserving of admiration, special privileges, and unwavering loyalty, regardless of their actions or merit. To them, the world revolves around their desires and needs, with others existing solely to serve and fulfill their expectations. This delusion of grandeur creates a dangerous sense of superiority that blinds them to empathy, fairness, and accountability. Entitlement manifests in various ways. Narcissists demand constant attention and validation, expecting those around them to cater to their every whim without question. They believe they are exempt from rules or standards that apply to everyone else, often justifying their selfishness as their right. This arrogance is reflected in their disregard for the feelings and needs of others. Relationships become transactional as the narcissist exploits others to satisfy their cravings for power, admiration, or control. The Bible speaks clearly against such arrogance. Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. Proverbs 16 verse 18. This sense of entitlement is not just harmful to others, it's destructive to the narcissist themselves. It isolates them from genuine connection, as their insatiable demands push people away and leave them increasingly reliant on control and manipulation to maintain their inflated self-image. C.S. Lewis insightfully described the root of such behavior in Mere Christianity. Pride gets no pleasure out of having something, only out of having more of it than the next man. The spirit of entitlement doesn't seek fulfillment through gratitude or mutual respect, but through dominance and superiority. It is a relentless hunger that cannot be satisfied. For those ensnared in a narcissist's world, recognizing this entitlement is crucial for setting boundaries. The spirit of entitlement thrives when its demands are met without challenge. By understanding your own worth and refusing to sacrifice your needs to meet the narcissist's endless expectations, you can begin to reclaim your autonomy. The Bible offers guidance for breaking free from the oppressive grip of entitlement. Each of you should look not only to your own interests, but also to the interests of others. Philippians 2:4. This humility and mutual respect are the antidotes to entitlement. By standing firm in your values and seeking God's wisdom, you can protect yourself from the toxicity of entitlement and find peace in relationships grounded in love and equality. The spirit of isolation is one of the most subtle yet devastating forces driving narcissistic behavior. It operates with precision, severing the victim's connections to family, friends, and support systems. Narcissists thrive on control, and the spirit of isolation ensures they remain the sole source of validation, influence, and truth in their victim's life. By cutting ties with others, they trap their victims in a world where the narcissist's narrative is the only reality. Isolation often begins innocently, disguised as concern or love. A narcissist may subtly criticize your friends or family, questioning their loyalty or intentions. Phrases like, "I just don't think they have your best interests at heart," or "they're not good for you," can seem caring at first but are calculated to plant seeds of doubt. Over time, these small remarks escalate into discouragement from seeing loved ones or outright forbidding contact. The goal is to erode your trust in others while deepening your dependence on the narcissist. This spirit of isolation is particularly insidious because it thrives on emotional manipulation. Narcissists often play the victim, making you feel guilty for prioritizing other relationships. They create scenarios where you must choose between them and your loved ones, fostering a sense of obligation and loyalty to them alone. The Bible warns us about the danger of those who sow division. A perverse person stirs up conflict, and a gossip separates close friends. Proverbs 16:28. As isolation takes hold, victims begin to feel increasingly cut off from the outside world. Without access to supportive relationships, they lose perspective, becoming more vulnerable to the narcissist's control. The narcissist's voice becomes the dominant and often only voice in their life, reinforcing lies and perpetuating confusion. This emotional and social isolation not only weakens the victim's confidence, but also makes them less likely to seek help or escape the toxic dynamic. Breaking free from the spirit of isolation requires courage and intentionality. Rebuilding connections with trusted friends and family is the first step toward freedom. Seek out those who uplift and support you, people who remind you of your worth and identity beyond the narcissist's influence. The Bible offers hope. Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. Ecclesiastes 4:9-10. By confronting the spirit of isolation, you can reclaim your independence and rediscover the strength that comes from meaningful relationships. Trust in God's guidance to reconnect with the people who genuinely care for you, and let His truth illuminate the path out of isolation and into freedom. The spirit of dehumanization is one of the most destructive forces behind narcissistic behavior, leaving devastation in its wake. At its core, this spirit strips others of their dignity and humanity, reducing them to mere objects meant to serve the narcissist's insatiable need for power and control. It thrives on invalidation, belittling achievements, dismissing struggles, and eroding the victim's sense of self-worth. Dehumanization is not accidental. It is deliberate and calculated. Narcissists see others not as individuals with inherent value, but as tools to be used for their benefit. Whether for emotional validation, financial support, or social gain, their interactions are transactional. The question they silently ask isn't, "How can I help or support this person?" but "What can this person do for me?" One of the most chilling aspects of this spirit is its impact on empathy, or the lack thereof. Narcissists either cannot or refuse to acknowledge the feelings of others. This absence of empathy allows them to exploit, manipulate, and harm without guilt or remorse. They invalidate emotions, disregard boundaries, and leave their victims questioning their worth. C.S. Lewis highlights the danger of pride and power in relationships in the Screwtape Letters. He can be taught to describe the most appalling vices as the mere exercise of freedom. For the narcissist, dehumanizing others is justified as a means of maintaining control. The Bible reminds us of the sacred value of every human life. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. Genesis 1:27. When a person dehumanizes another, they reject this truth, treating individuals as disposable objects rather than creations of divine worth. This distortion not only harms the victim but also corrupts the narcissist, hardening their heart and deepening their detachment from true connection. The effects of dehumanization are far-reaching. Victims often feel belittled, unseen, and emotionally broken, questioning their identity and purpose. The narcissist's actions chip away at their confidence and dignity, leaving scars that can take years to heal. But there is hope. Recognizing this spirit and its tactics is the first step to reclaiming your sense of worth. The Bible assures us, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit," Psalm 34:18. By leaning into this truth, victims can begin to rebuild their identity, grounded in God's love and affirmation. Healing begins with the realization that your value is not defined by how someone else treats you. You are more than the lies they've told or the pain they've caused. By reclaiming your dignity and seeking God's guidance, you can break free from the chains of dehumanization and step into the light of your true worth. As we conclude this exploration of the spiritual forces driving narcissistic behavior, it's essential to step back and see the full picture. Narcissism isn't just about a flawed personality or toxic traits. It's a manifestation of deeper, darker energies that thrive on destruction, manipulation, and control. From the spirit of manipulation to the spirit of dehumanization, these forces leave a trail of pain, confusion, and brokenness. But understanding these spirits is the first step toward freedom and healing. For those who have been caught in the storm of a narcissist's influence, the effects can feel overwhelming. The constant gaslighting, exploitation, isolation, and dehumanization take a toll, leaving victims questioning their worth, their sanity, and even their faith. But here's the truth. Their darkness does not define you. You are not what they say you are, and the lies they've told about you have no power in the light of God's truth. The Bible provides us with reassurance in the face of such challenges. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. No matter how deep the manipulation or how severe the wounds, God's light is stronger. It exposes the lies, brings clarity to confusion, and heals the brokenhearted. Breaking free from the grip of these spiritual forces requires awareness, courage, and trust in God's promises. Awareness allows you to see through the mask, recognizing the tactics and lies for what they are. Courage enables you to take action, setting boundaries, seeking support, and refusing to engage in the narcissist's games. And trust in God anchors you in His unchanging truth, reminding you of your worth and purpose, no matter what the narcissist has tried to strip away. C.S. Lewis once wrote, "We are not necessarily doubting that God will do the best for us. We are wondering how painful the best will turn out to be." Healing from the pain caused by a narcissist is not easy. It requires facing hard truths, grieving losses, and rebuilding what has been broken. But it's a process worth embracing, because on the other side of that pain is freedom, joy, and peace. Let this message be a call to action. Reflect on the forces in your life that may be holding you back or dragging you down. Are there relationships, patterns, or lies you need to confront? Awareness is the first step, but action is the next. Seek God's guidance and surround yourself with people who uplift and support you. Remember, healing is a journey, and every step forward is a victory. As you move forward, hold on to the hope that God's light will guide your path. You are stronger than the lies, more valuable than the pain, and more resilient than the darkness. Share this message with someone who may need it, and take heart in this promise. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. Keep growing, keep healing, and keep stepping into the light. You've got this.